In March 19, 1944, at the Berghof, Bavarian Alps, the Führer is agitated. He paces the Great Hall. He dismisses his generals. He knows the invasion is coming. It is the only thing that matters. He grabs a report. It's from his most trusted spies. It confirms everything he suspects. The Allies are massing in Kent, an enormous army, millions of men, under their most feared general, George S. Patton. The target is obvious. It must be Pas-de-Calais. Hitler gives the order, hold the 15th Army, fortify Calais. The real invasion will come there. Everything else is a diversion. He has just sealed his own fate. Because the army Hitler feared, the army he was obsessed with, was not real. It was an army of ghosts, a phantom force of actors, artists, and spies. And it was the single greatest deception in the history of warfare. Act 1. The impossible problem. In 1944, Fortress Europe is a reality. From Norway to the border of Spain, the Nazis have built a wall of steel and concrete. They have 58 divisions in France and the Low Countries waiting. The Allied High Command has a problem, a terrible mathematical problem. They must invade. They must open a second front. The entire fate of the war, the future of the world, rests on one single day, and it has to be a surprise. But how do you hide the largest amphibious invasion force ever assembled? How do you move 156,000 men and 11,000 aircraft across the English Channel without anyone noticing? The Germans expect the attack at Pas-de-Calais. It's the shortest route, just 21 miles. It has the best beaches. It's a straight line to the industrial heart of Germany. It is the obvious choice. The Allies, therefore, have chosen the difficult choice, the treacherous beaches of Normandy. But the Normandy landings will only succeed if the Germans keep their main armored force, the deadly panzer divisions, at Calais. If those panzers move to Normandy on D-Day, the invasion will be annihilated on the beaches. The war will be lost. So the Allies hatch a plan of almost insane audacity. They cannot hide the invasion, so they will show the Germans a different one. They won't just let Hitler believe the attack is coming at Calais. They will make him believe it. They will prove it to him. To do this, they need to create an army, a massive, phantom army, and they need a commander. Act 2. The General and the Spaniard. He was America's most brilliant, most aggressive, and most feared battlefield commander. And in 1944, he was in the doghouse. After a notorious incident where he slapped 2 shell-shocked soldiers, Patton was sidelined. He was a general with no army, stuck in England, his career in ruins. The Allies saw this as an opportunity. The Germans didn't know he was in disgrace. They knew him as old blood and guts. They believed he, and only he, would be chosen to lead the great invasion. So the Allies gave him a new command, the 1st U.S. Army Group. Its name? FUSAG. It had over 1 million men on paper, 11 divisions, scores of bombers and fighters. It was the most powerful fighting force the Allies possessed, and it was based in Kent, directly opposite Pas-de-Calais. German reconnaissance pilots flew over. Their spy planes took photographs, and what they saw confirmed their worst fears. They saw thousands of Sherman tanks. They saw vast motor pools. They saw entire divisions of soldiers in sprawling tent cities. The German high command was frantic. The invasion was coming, just as they thought. But what the German cameras actually saw was air. The tanks were inflatable. The landing craft were canvas stretched over steel tubes. The airfields were plywood and paint. The soldiers were a handful of men from a top-secret unit of the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. This was an army of creatives, artists, sound engineers, actors, and radio wizards. They drove through Kentish villages in trucks, blasting 500-pound speakers with the recorded sounds of entire armored divisions on the move. They created fake patent radio chatter, filled with false orders, troop movements, even gossip about local pubs, all designed to be intercepted. FUSAG was a masterpiece of physical deception. It was a stage play for an audience of one, Adolf Hitler. But what happened next would make the lie unbreakable. A ghost army is one thing, but it needs witnesses. His name was Juan Puyol Garcia. He was an unlikely hero, a failed chicken farmer from Spain who hated the Nazis. He had tried to offer his services to the British, and they rejected him. So in a feat of breathtaking audacity, he decided to become a German spy first. He convinced the Abwehr, German military intelligence, that he was a rabid fascist. They trained him, gave him money and invisible ink, and sent him to London. Except Puyol never went to London. He went to Lisbon. And from a small apartment, he invented his reports. He used the Blue Guide to Britain, naval reference books, and his own wild imagination to create a vast, fictional spy network. He told the Germans the British were testing a new plane that could melt tank armor. He told them food was so scarce, men were fighting for a scrap of fish. His reports were dramatic, they were detailed, and to the Germans, they were electrifying. The British, through their ultra code breaking, intercepted these messages. They were stunned. The Germans had a master spy in London, but the British had no idea who he was. When they finally tracked him down in Lisbon, they realized the truth. This man, this amateur, was single-handedly fooling the entire German intelligence apparatus. He wasn't a spy, he was an artist. The British rushed him to London, gave him the codename Garbo, the greatest actor in the world, and made him the crown jewel of their double-cross system. Now with British resources, Garbo's army grew. He created 27 fictional sub-agents, a nationalist Welsh poet, a disgruntled sailor, a gossiping secretary in a high-level ministry, an Aryan fascist in the War Office. This secret army of fictional spies would now work with the secret army of rubber tanks. Act 3. The Grand Deception. The invasion is imminent. Garbo's network has spent months sending thousands of messages, building a flawless picture for the Germans. His agent in Kent reports on the massive buildup of FUSAG. His agent in a coastal town reports on the insignia he sees, the exact insignia the Ghost Army is painting on their trucks. His agent in London reports that General Patton is in command. The physical deception, FUSAG, and the human intelligence, Garbo, have become a perfect feedback loop. German reconnaissance sees the rubber tanks. Garbo's spies confirm they are real. The lie is now the truth. The real fleet, heading for Normandy, sails under a sky of iron. At the same time, the Ghost Army in Kent goes into overdrive. Radio traffic explodes. They broadcast the sounds of an army boarding ships. Then Garbo prepares his masterpiece. At 3 a.m. on June 6th, just hours before H hour, Garbo's most trusted agent sends an urgent, high-priority message to Berlin. The message? The invasion is beginning, but it is a diversion. He reports that his sources confirm this Normandy attack is a feint, designed only to draw the Panthers away from the real target. The main attack, he insists, led by Patton, will strike Pas de Calais in the coming days once the reserves are committed elsewhere. The D-Day, June 6, 1944. The first waves hit the beaches. The German high command is in chaos. Field Marshal von Rundstedt, commander in the West, sees the scale of the landing and immediately orders the 1st SS Panzer Corps to move toward Normandy. But the order must be approved by Hitler. He's convinced this is a diversion. He's convinced Garbo is right. He tells his generals, this is not the invasion, this is a trap. The main attack is still to come at Calais. He orders the panzers to stay put. On Omaha Beach, the Americans are being slaughtered. They are desperate for reinforcements. They are desperate for the panzers not to arrive. And they don't. For 24 hours, for 48 hours, for a week, the most powerful armored divisions in France, the divisions that could have driven the Allies back into the sea, sit in Calais, waiting for an army of rubber, waiting for an invasion that was never coming. The deception had to hold, even after D-Day. For 7 more weeks, the Ghost Army kept up the charade. Goebbels kept sending reports of Pan's frustration that his invasion was being delayed. By the time Hitler finally realized the truth, by the time he released the panzers, it was too late. The beachhead was secure, the breakout had begun, and the secret army had held the door open, and the war was now a race to Berlin. Act 4. The man who wasn't there. The war ended. The men of